Oh, hello. Welcome to Movie Crap Live. Apparently, it says I have an excellent connection. We'll see about that. But, hello and welcome. It's Thursday. I'm seeing an orange ad. Okay, cool. Is that me? Hold on. Okay, thank you, Cornbread, for the reminder. I do appreciate it. I have it, but hey, I forgot to post the energy drink clue on the Twitter. So, unless somebody got it. Oh, Cornbread got it. Cornbread, you got the energy drink. You guessed it. You guessed it right, my man. Good for you. Okay, you did. I apologize for that. Hey, okay. Hello to everyone. Hello, Nathaniel Foga, Pup. Sinram, how's it going? Sinram, are you doing time? If you don't want to, it's okay. But either way, appreciate when you did it before. William Ellman, Purple Goop, the Steve Master, Austin in Spirit, K Master, everybody who is here. Thank you all very, very much for being here this evening. Do we have? That's good. That's good. Sorry, I'm like I don't know, the hour before I'm setting up and I'm like, is this working? And then yeah. But I am doing the time. Congrats to Sinram. Thank you again for doing it. All right. And we are. Oh, okay. Ryan Walsh, sugar-free Minute Maid. Ryan Walsh just said drink very different things. Hello. Look, I'm in the classic set or whatever. Let's bring that down a little. All right. Yes. Today we're going to talk about a few things. Yes, Cinram's right. Click. Thank you. I noticed he does do that. I appreciate that, Cinram. This actually looks pretty good. I'm wondering if it's the Christmas tree sort of next to me, which is doing that. Which I thought you can kind of see it in the. I thought about doing it in front of, but like, I don't know. Maybe I'll do the. Well, congrats for being nice and doing it. I don't know. Sorry. The wall's the wrong color. How's the wall the wrong color? Oh, it's doing the thing. Sorry. I always have it do it to test it. And this barely works. I don't know how much longer we're doing that. But where was I going with this? Yes, I think we have a pack show. This is sort of the last I forgot my well. I do have like what was in the most thumbnails rank thing. We'll do some stuff at the beginning of the show. We'll do some stuff. I'm trying to the Rob Reiner thing serious, so we'll do. Oh, it's a nostalgia card. Oh, okay. Um, we'll do some stuff at the beginning of the show. We'll do some stuff throughout the show. I will do a lengthy thing on Rob Reiner, but I will try to have some fun stuff because obviously, that's like pretty serious, I think. Although we're not going to just talk about that. But I don't like to overpower the show with something like that because it can do it. And I think, you're all working and having, the society sucks. So it's nice to not go fully into that. But we will talk. I will go into it, but we don't got to start things that way, even though he is the first image on the thumbnail. Okay, here's some things I didn't know. Apparently, there's what I posted in my throwback for the road ship, which celebrates its 10th anniversary today, as well as less notable, The Force Awakens. But that some guy who is nostalgia critic related, called the Sci-Fi Guy, is an extra in it. I tried to Google image search it. I'm not watching the road ship to find him ever again in my life. My kids get into it, but I don't think they will. Hopefully. I have not checked it out, but because people keep saying there's a guy in it, and I looked it up. Apparently, I didn't know that. So, yeah, that's interesting. I learned new trivia about the road trip 10 years later. Nobody told me. Maybe someone did. I didn't look through the comments, but we got the first super chat. It's from Bloxy, who says Paul Blart should be the new nostalgia. You know what? I think Mr. Kevin James would be a better nostalgia critic than Mr. Doug Walker. I've been wanting to get this energy drink for a while. It's called Retro Vibe. It sounded cool to me. Retro Vibe there. This is the last. Yeah, yeah. There we go. Sort of the last full show of the year. Cheers to you, Loxy. Um, let's put this back here. I heard. Okay. Anyway. Oh hell, Al Vasquez is here. Um. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. Brad Jones leaked the road chip knowledge. It is. It is interesting being the 10th year anniversary of Force Awakens, but it doesn't feel like that film has been as impactful. I think it was one of the better made 2010 blockbusters. Um, but I don't know if it. I don't know. It's interesting because where Star Wars is now in the legacy of everything after it. But I was like, I've rewatched it, and it's still like I don't know. I also had no qualms about what it was. I was not like I understood it was Disney to make people like Star Wars more again, which I sort of think they need to figure that sauce out again. But oh hey Dan, how's it going? It's interesting to see. It is interesting to see it not getting as much reception. I will have that as a throwback tomorrow, but I don't know. It's weird thinking back on that time. I remember that week I had insanely bad food poisoning, and I noticed it while I was on the POS podcast that Pan was on, which was like a really big POS podcast episode, as I recall. Even though nobody cares about the POS podcast anymore, unfortunately. Uh, like no nostalgia for that. Pizza party, sure. POS, Willie, Willie. Um, let's see. Just getting ready for Christmas. I hope I'm ready. Anxiety about that. It does kind of dim for me when you're older. You're like, oh boy, obligations. I went to Baltimore this past weekend and that was fun. Um, I got a cool mug from my brother-in-law. I think that was the main. I got a nice ornament for my mom. My kids got cool stuff. I got my nephew a Star Wars toy, which again I hate that it took a while to find a Star Wars toy that was for kids, not for grown-ups, which was like cool, cool. This sucks. This is probably why Star Wars nobody likes anymore. But it was a hit, but it was like one of those things where I was like, this is bullshit. I might have complained about this last week, but I think I have before. Oh, this is kind of a lesson I learned. This is just the a funny thing. So, my daughter is really into Taylor Swift. I like Taylor Swift. I'm not as obsessed as my daughter is. My wife's like making stuff. I don't know what's going on there. But I saw on Twitter there was like this thing and people were saying in Taylor Swift's like documentary series. I'm sure none of you know this, but it's sort of funny. Someone said she acknowledged like Israel, and I was like, uh, okay. I was confused, and people were saying she's just acknowledging it as a country and that it should be there, and all this like really long threads and all this stuff. And I was like, crap. I mean, I know my daughter's gonna watch this thing, so like, what am I in for? And I was actually kind of nervous. And then I watched it, and the thing, the thing that is about Israel is someone just saying like, there's people here from everywhere, England, Ireland, Russia, Israel, New York, and I was like, wait, that's her acknowledge what? I was so lost. I was like very surprised, and I went back, and there were people like going like act like she spent half 15 minutes on or something, and it's literally just someone saying that they are from there, which I was like, I don't know if that means she supports it, but okay. I mean, maybe rich people do seem to, but it was just like a very interesting. I was like, oh, it's really like embracing for the worst, and it was just someone saying, I was like, oh, okay. I don't know. Sorry, I just found it very interesting how sometimes like when you see posts and people really blow things out of proportion, and that was a good example of that. All right, before we get into it, I know I have hyped up the who had the most, who was in the most thumbnails of the year, since this is um sort of the last full show. I'm going to do a stream on the 23rd, or I hope to do a stream on the 23rd, which would be kind of the last video thing before Christmas. Again, I hope, because things are so crazy, and I would like to get my other Jim Henson Christmas special review out. But I'm not. That's sort of a check your community tabs and all that, and that'll probably be more of a looser thing. And I'm not going to. It'll be like movie crap Christmas special or something like that. So let's just say this is the last show of the year. Basically, there won't be a show the following week, and I don't know if I'll be back with a full show until either January 8th or possibly the 10th. But I'm going to hope for the 8th. However, I did go through every thumbnail today, counted them, and I wrote down every one that had I wrote down every one and put a dash, and there's like a lot. There were just one, but here are all the ones. I do have a winner, and tonight there was one thing in tonight that sort of sealed the winner. Okay, so we're gonna do everything at 2 and up. Two things were in there that I think deserved to be 2, but it was not the same image, and it was not even sort of the same thing, which was Zelda, because of Hunter Schafer was in one thumbnail, and then Zelda herself in the actual movie was in another thumbnail. I consider that both Zelda. They're both technically about the character of Zelda. So I was like, that sort of counts. And then Incredibles 3 was in there twice, once with Mr. Incredible and once with Brad Bird about Incredibles 3. So that's something. Those are kind of honorable mentions. Here are all the ones that were 2. We have we're in 2 thumbnails. We have Shrek, Toxie. I didn't realize that. Some were very spread out, which was actually interesting when I was like, sometimes I like tabulating stuff, and I thought, oh, they're like close. And some of them were like, Toxie was like months apart. I think the longest stretch might have been, oh, okay, I'll get into that. So we have Shrek, Toxie, Coyote, Amelia Perez, Snow White, the live action remake. Minecraft, I'm counting because it was Jack Black and Chicken Jockey. I thought it was in more, but it was only in 2. Sinners was only in 2, which was interesting. Badlands was very spread out between the first kind of image, I guess, and trailer. Or Predator Badlands, Cyclops from the X-Men was 2. Leo, Chainsaw Man, Jimmy Kimmel, Demon Slayer, Zootopia 2 was 2. And those are all the 2s. You don't know Toxie, Ryan Welch said that's a great one. That's a good one. Okay, this weekend I have a hankering for some holiday. This is from Willie Owen. This weekend I have a hankering for some holiday. Sorry, this is good. I can't do it. This weekend I have a hankering for some holiday Hollywood honey baked hamnet. There we go. There we go. I like it. I like it. Cheers. Why is my stuff... Sorry, I have a thing in here that tells me about the... Okay, I want to have it... Okay, there we go. Apologies. Okay. Cheers to you, Will and Owen. Cheers to you. Jim, YouTube didn't play you live until I refresh the page. Really? Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry about that. All right, here are the rest of the stat. I don't know if you guys care about this. You mentioned you would before. I hope you do. I sort of have a top 3 and then a lot of ties. These are the few that had 3 images. I will talk about Rob Reiner. Don't worry. Superman was in 3 times. All different images, which I was surprised by. Buzz Lightyear, who was in twice by himself and then once with Woody, but I'm going to give him the 3. Spider-Man, 2 of that Spider-Man cartoon show, whatever it was called, and 1 was Miles Morales, but he is Spider-Man, so it counts as 3. And then Stitch, live action remake Stitch. Now here are the top 3. Number 3, and this one I thought would maybe be higher, is K-pop Demon Hunters. They infamously had 2 images in one thumbnail, which is, I think, a record. I don't know. At number 2 was King of the Hill with 6 images. If you want to count the voice of John Redcorn, who died, but I didn't count that since that was about him, not the show. Yeah, that was second. And the first one was Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers was in the thumbnail 7 times. If you want to count HBO Max, as a separate thing, it would be 8, but it's still number 1 regardless. And it was tied with King of the Hill until the thumbnail tonight. So that was some movie crap stats. I don't know if you guys. This seemed like, where's Jay Kelly? I don't know if I'll review Jay Kelly. I'm like, I do want to do Train Dreams, and I watched part of it, and I kind of got sidetracked. And I want to. It's interesting. It's like Malik with a tripod or something. I'm like, what the fuck? You just move stuff around. What is this shit? I don't know. I did enjoy it though. Or the parts I watched. I need to actually sit down with it. I haven't properly watched it. I don't think I have anything else to get to. I can think of. But oh, I mean, no, it's okay. I was wondering what people would guess in the thing, but I don't know. I thought it was interesting to go through what was the biggest stories of the year, but it's also interesting how much King of the Hill. I didn't realize King of the Hill would beat K-pop Demon Hunters, which is interesting. All right, let's just get into the show. We're about 15 minutes in. Let's just get into the show proper. This and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through super chats during the show, where I'll drink my retro vibe, which is okay, by the way. I didn't talk about that. My retro vibe energy drink, and or you can join my Patreon, which is a perfect gift for your family. You can say, "Hey, I got you. I pledged you to Jim Gisriel's Patreon," and then they'll be like, "Oh my god, thank you. That's what I wanted for Christmas. It's wonderful. What do I get?" You go, postcards once more, and more power in the movie review vote. And they'll be like, "Oh my god, thank you so much. Can I put a movie in there?" And you'll be like, "Yes, yes, you can. You can watch all those public access shows. It's the only way you can watch them on demand. You get his commentary series. He has a new one coming out this weekend, which it'll be Christmas, so it'll be out already. Knock Force and the old stuff. It's amazing. You support this guy who's, moderately okay, and your mom will cry, and it'll be an amazing Christmas moment. In fact, whatever you're getting your family members, you should just throw it away. So it's not worth it. To that. Sorry. I was gonna do that funny. I think that came out stupid. But yes, all your support is very much appreciated. But if you do a super chat, I do try to watch the chat. But if you do a super chat, I will definitely read out and take some energy drink, which will give me energy because it's a high chance I could just fall asleep during the show at any time. Or any time during the day. I could be asleep right now, quite frankly. Or you're asleep. Or this is somebody else's dream, like that kid from that show I never watched. Anyway, if you're financially able to do so, I very much appreciate if you're able to do a super chat or Patreon, or even a thanks if you want to do that, a thank you pledge or whatever that is, if you want to, or a super chat anytime. All of that is very much appreciated. But if you're not financially able to do so, and you have a YouTube account, liking this video and subscribing very much helps. If you want to turn on notifications and want to see the throwbacks and get community posts and everything like that, then you very much should do so. It very much helps. And all of that stuff. But if you don't have an account and you're just watching, I very much appreciate that. That is still supporting the show, even if you're just watching. And tell a friend, or don't. Or just put it on your friend's YouTube and leave it running. I don't know. Anyway, sorry. I'm bumping this. Cornbread is right. I did not mention Reese's Therapy. And this week was a little crazy and I didn't really push it as much on all my things. I think the rest of them are coming out tomorrow, so I apologize if you're seeing. I think the rest of them post tomorrow. But my daughter was on Reese's Therapy with Paul Mescal and Jesse Buckley to promote Hamnet. They're in Central Park. And yeah, she did a good job. And she's been reading some shit. She reads a lot, so it was kind of cool. It was a good opportunity for her, and I think it was a lot of fun. And those guys were really nice. Like, no complaints with those guys. So check it out. It was on the community tab on Monday. I think I lost track of that one. Problem is, I just lost track. I lost track of that one. To be totally honest, but I think Reese's Therapy will be okay without me. I don't think they're waiting for those views. But it should be posted someplace. It'll be posted in other places tomorrow. Because they don't really have like a Twitter or Blue Sky, so I can't just retweet it. You know what I mean? Anyway. But she was in it. She was great. Sophie's always great and stuff. I also want to say, Austin, I responded to your thing. Sorry, I copied it earlier and I didn't respond to you. And apologies for that. But hello, Mr. Silver, M Blood T, Jordan Slaflo, the KKVB. Thank you for being here. I'll talk about play. And also, I have an amazing community of the Discord, which I've heard people like, yo, I stopped by your Discord, didn't post anything, but I liked what I saw. Recess crap love it. Okay, I see what you did there. But you should join the Discord. There's all sorts of wonderful stuff like there's the Ask Jim, there's suggestions for Jim, there's things that have nothing to do with me, like the movie watch. I'm not sure what they're doing this week. They're doing the what Blizzard? What the fuck is that? I don't even know what that is. But they're doing it. They're watching it. And they're gonna have fun. And there's the licensed playing card channel. You can hear I don't think I've done pictures of the Argyle cards, but they'll come out. You can do self promo. You can talk about art. You can talk about movies. You can talk about so many different things on the Discord. It's a really wonderful community. If you like everyone here in the chat, it's you can hang out with them anytime, 24 hours a day, and do the daily questions and all of that fun stuff. It'll be really cool. All right, let's get into it. Oh, it's Austin Street. Why? I don't know that movie at all. I'm very confused by that. All right, let's get into it. All right, first up, we finally had a date, which is the Muppet Show, for the kind of pilot for the reboot that Seth Rogen has been working on with Evan Goldberg. So another Freaks and Geeks cast member, or really a freak cast member from Freaks and Geeks, has brought back the Muppet Show, the Muppets again. This is the Muppet Show. It's going to be on Disney Plus, and I think air on ABC if I'm correct on that. But it is going to be at least on Disney Plus on February 4th of 2026 with Sabrina Carpenter. We finally got a date. Previously, we knew this was happening and that this is sort of a pilot and stuff. I'm curious how this is going to go down, but I think Sabrina Carpenter and Miss Piggy together is a pretty amazing combo. So I'm excited, and she's like perfect for them. She's like, I can't think of a star that's more perfect for the Muppets than her. And I believe, what was it, Dolly Parton? If they should, oh, they are doing. Thank you, Ryan Wilson. I don't think Dolly Parton did the original Muppet Show, so they should get her if they bring it back as well. I hope this goes well. I'm very excited. I'll probably do a review of it because I'm very down for this. And I believe Ryan Walterson did. He's talking about your favorite Muppet Show episode. I was having trouble thinking of one, but when I was a kid, that Star Wars one was big. But also there's so many. I can't even. I don't know if I can pick one to be to 100%. I love a lot of them, but that's really exciting. I'm glad we finally have a date. It feels like real. I hope Disney listens and lets them do it. They don't have the best track record with the Muppets. I forgot to mention this, but every time we hit a multiple of $20, these will flash. I somehow got these lights to work as well, so we get up to $20 or more, we will do the flashing lights for a little bit and stuff like that. Anyway, sorry about that. No, okay. Ryan's bringing up that his mom had the Mandela effect. I think most people, when I said that to people, and they go, no, you're wrong. And I even thought, well, she must have been on it. And she wasn't on it, but she feels like she should have been on it, right? That feels like it should have happened, but it didn't happen. So, in Beavis, I'm going to do some quick things first. Sorry, Sinran, if you're doing this. Oh, Piggy and Kermit were on the Dolly Parton show in 1987. Okay, that sort of explains. But it feels like that happened. That's what I think in the 70s, because she was pretty popular then. She's still popular. But Beavis and Butthead the reboot has been picked up for an additional season, I think, with Mike Judge and how powerful he is. I'm sure it's sort of a do you want to come back again type of thing. And they had a pretty big cameo at the end of last season. I haven't seen it, but it was spoiled for me. If you think about it, you can figure it out. To try to not spoil things, I won't say it. But and I'm surprised I didn't get more press, but they had a big one. And in other pickup news, Haha You Clowns has been picked up by Adult Swim for season 2 and 3. It seems that I'm the only one who doesn't like that show all that much. I like it okay. I'm just not not enthusiastic about haha you clowns. But maybe I'll check out season. Maybe I'll give it another shot for season 2. But you know, all right. Now I want to talk about the two kind of stories that broke, big kids movie stories, and then we will talk about Rob Reiner. I'm not. I don't think you can not talk about Rob Reiner. We're talking about movie news this week, to be 100% clear. But I wanted to, and Tom Cruise not going to space, because we gotta bring that joke back. All right. The Peanuts. Wait, which one? Haha, you clowns or Beavis and Butthead? I guess Beavis and Butthead is. I really haven't caught up. I need to just watch a bunch of them because I need to read. Well, I want to watch all of, like, I've watched all of season 3 of Smiling Friends, but I want to watch it all to review it, and then maybe because Beavis and Butthead is a very chill show for me. I don't know why, but it is. All right, so uh, the rights to the Peanuts, or I guess a now Sony owns a majority stake in the Peanuts. They owned basically how it worked was like in a roundabout way. Wild Brain, a Canadian studio, owned 40%. Sony owns 40%, and the Schultz family estate or Peanuts LLC's Trust Co. or whatever own 20%. They still own 20%, but Sony bought out the other 40%. So now they basically own the controlling shares of the Peanuts franchise. They've really not announced additional Peanut stuff. I am curious what they're in fact going to do with Peanuts. I think it'll be hard to just launch a movie franchise because you sort of need the Schultzes, and it took Blue Sky a really long time to make the movie they did, which I think is, I don't know, I think is might be the best Peanuts movie overall. I don't know if that's a huge. I haven't watched all those other movies. I watched the one for Patreon and the other one. I don't know if because they were sort of like we're still doing, the Apple thing, and we're doing all the Apple stuff still, and Sony doesn't have a streaming service, but they're sort of, I've always considered what Sony's doing in terms of they don't have a streaming service. I mean, they have like MGM, they had MGM Plus, but they sold that to Amazon. But they didn't, or what was that free one? They don't really have like a big one, basically. They just sell to other people. And Peanuts makes that more attractive. Now they're just on Apple Plus. It doesn't sound like they're leaving. But if they ever want to, they can. They also have a pretty hyped animation studio right now, and having another property, especially like Spider Verse, is going to end. I'm fairly certain. So I think it makes a lot of sense, but I don't know what they're overall going to do with it. It seems like they're sort of like we're just going to keep doing stuff, is what they announced. It was not like a threatening with the Netflix Warner's thing or something like that, which was kind of interesting. Maybe they just didn't really like dealing with Wild Brain, although I don't have any knowledge of that. But I don't know. I'm curious what this deal will do in, because they're doing the Apple Plus movie, which I'm not sure if that is probably just going to be on Apple Plus, or what, or if they're just like this is an additional revenue stream. We get more of the money now, because in theory, if they own double the shares, that would mean they'd get double the money. And maybe Sony's like, well, we can just get, for now at least, we get double the money, and then eventually we can do something with this. I'm curious what that is, but right now it's sort of just like they have more control. There's nothing really announced. I also saw a film producer on Twitter was saying he's been trying forever to get the Calvin and Hobbes rights, and I forget who it was, but I was like, you dumb bitch. I love that Bill Watterson, man, anytime I hear of a big sale, I was like, I love that that guy's just like, yeah, I'm not ever doing that shit. So, you know, you can keep trying. Also, I don't think Calvin Hobbes would work well in a movie. I've never seen any of that fan stuff look very good. It's a comic. It's a comic strip. Some things do not need to be in several mediums. Like they're just like there's not every property needs to be a multimedia thing. And I support that. But right now, this peanut sale, it is shocking and scary. But there's no like nothing in the press about them doing anything different. They're sort of like, we own more of it, and we're still going to do what we're doing, and we're going to honor our commitments, which was sort of like a little like, okay. All right, cool. Cool, bro. That's neat. In other Sony news, and this is not, I want to point this out. This is not Sony animation news. Wait, are we talking about Zane Powers? Talking about British Dennis the Menace or American Dennis the Menace? That's the real question. This is not, again, not for Sony Animation. The Labubu movie, which again is not animated for some reason and will most likely look like the Garbage Pail Kids movie in the nightmare I'm going to have later, is going to be directed by Paul King. Paul King, who directed the first two um, Paddington movies and directed Wonka, and you think could do better, apparently can't, and is doing the Labubu movie. I don't. I do not get why he is doing this movie. I do not understand it. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me whatsoever why you would want to do this movie because he has a good career. Like, and I think, it's like he launched a franchise that did pretty well this year with Paddington 3, which I shot a review for. I never edited. Maybe I should get on that. But I just don't get why he would do this. It's like almost every movie press person is like, why is he fucking doing this, man? Like, why? And a Labubu live action movie. That's the part that's. I mean, I don't know if he's like, if they were like, it's a lot of people said it's like their wish list uh choice. The studio would be like, oh, it's like when they always have a wish list choice, and most of the time it doesn't lead to press. But like when they're trying to do a new Spider-Man, they usually ask, they call like Cameron and Fincher, and then they say no, and then they find someone else. Or like when Force Awakens was announced, they called Spielberg first, and he's like, yeah, no, I get offered every Star Wars trilogy, so I like that you called me. Um, no, I get the Wonka thing, but this is definitely beneath him. Like this is not this is like the emoji movie of brands. Like Paul King doesn't need this. Is Labubu gonna be as big after is it gonna make it to next Christmas? I don't know. But to me this is Garbage Pail Kids. Garbage Pail Kids, I mean, could it be an interesting Garbage Pail Kids? Sure. But I'm like, you don't really need to do this. And I get that people said the Wonka thing, as Ryan Walsh is saying in the chat, but I don't agree. I think this is a really bad fucking idea. This is there's no way this is not a bad idea. And if like is this going to last long enough by the time the movie comes out? I don't know. I'm very surprised. A lot of people thought they just bought the rights to like make sure another studio couldn't have it. And clearly, no one was right about that shit. So, just wow. Wow. Ah, man. I was just surprised. I think he could do better, but I guess he cannot do better than Labubu, which is unfortunate. He seemed to be a really big, you know, I don't know. I'm very lost on why he's doing this. It's just very weird because he's not even in like it was like he had a bomb and then he's like, oh, he had to do little boo boo, and you're like, oh, I feel bad for him. But like, I don't know. He must be getting paid. He must be getting paid. I hope you are Paul King. If you're not, that sucks. Maybe he was like Wonka 2 isn't really taking shape and Chalamet's not going to do it or something. Though he's good in that. I've seen Wonka a few times because my kids like it. And his Paddington movies, and he's a good director. It's just very weird. Maybe Sony it really is like we need to do a Labubu movie, which does not make me feel good about that Peanuts thing I talked about earlier. Let's be real. Does that make you feel good that they're like, yo, we need to get top talent on that Paul King shit, or sorry, on that Labubu thing? I heard Ability. I think he rejected. Bond rejected him, which is dumb. Maybe he's just like some of these guys just want high profile gig after high profile gig now. Maybe he's just like that's the most high profile shit I can do. So, all right, let's talk about Rob Reiner. This will, yeah, let's just talk about Rob Reiner. Let's get into it. Um, as you probably know, and let's just get this out of the way. Um, that Rob Reiner and his wife were murdered on what we are to believe Saturday night, but the bodies were at least found on Sunday afternoon by his daughter. It is known that it is by his son Nick Reiner, who had various substance abuse issues, and I'm assuming other mental and emotional issues as well. Um, which is I don't know, a very tragic, sad way for Rob Reiner to leave us, for his wife to leave us, and for everything with his family. And it's just something that like we're hearing more info about as we go on. Apparently, he had a pretty. They were at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party. Nick Reiner and Bill Hader had a fairly tense conversation there. We are knowing of that. Apparently, he spoke to Jane Fonda. Him and his parents had an argument, and they apologized to Conan O'Brien, and they left, and that's the last time I think anyone saw them alive, to my understanding. I think there'll be more and more that comes out about this. So if you're watching this in the future, which sometimes people do, this is as I'm to understand it at this time. That's a huge tragedy, and how it's been handled by various people uh, has not been the most appropriate. Although it is interesting to find out his wife, who is a photographer, actually took the apparently she took the cover photo for Trump's book Art of the Deal, which is I think fairly hilarious. But um, Rob Reiner, I grew up with him in two different ways. I actually grew up with him first as a director because I was a kid, um, you know, born in the '80s, and he was already established, and I watched Princess Bride a lot of times, a lot of times. And then there was Stand By Me, which is on TV a lot, and then there was I got into This Is Spinal Tap when mockumentaries were just starting to take shape, and Harry Met Sally was talked about all the time, and A Few Good Men, and Misery, and that run I kept hearing about, and it was on. They were all on TBS TNT all the time, and those videos were easy to watch. I've never seen A Sure Thing, which that is the one I'm actually going to go check out because that's one I wanted to see. I really thought for way longer than anyone else that he would come back because that run in the '80s was so incredible. It is a real all time great run. I do think the one thing that's interesting about him is I don't think I could do what is like what is his style. It seems to go all over the place, except that he trusted actors and he was very good at switching from style to style, genre to genre. But that I mean, after that run, I know North was a disaster of epic proportions. That Roger Ebert review is legendary. It really is kind of like I mean, he named a book after. I've never heard of a book being named after a quote from a film review. I think that is maybe one of the few, if not the only one, because he hated it so much. And people talk about like Ebert eviscerating North. Um, but it's also, I think, they were all just so good. I mean, he also probably has one of the greatest directorial debuts of all time with This Is Spinal Tap, one of the most influential movies. I think in one of the news specials I was watching, they were like Christopher Guest brings up he can't make a Christopher Guest movie anymore because of Modern Family and The Office and stuff. It's like not unique enough. It's like so expected and stuff. But like This Is Spinal Tap is before Waiting for Guffman by like I think 10 years or something. Maybe I forget what your spine was in Spinal Tap 84 and Waiting for Guffman is 96. Like 12 years. Like I know it's like Christopher Guest and Michael McKean and Harry Shearer, but like man, this is fun. I didn't see the sequel. It just didn't seem like my thing, and I don't know. But also, I was a huge All in the Family fan. I haven't watched as much. I do think that is a prestige sitcom if there is one. It is like a lot of real theatrical acting. It like really gets what a sitcom can be. They have such great chemistry, the four of them. I saw an interview with Rob Reiner talking about how like they knew the second part wouldn't work because they would shoot their rehearsal and then they do like the actual like one for tape basically, and they didn't work, and they reworked the whole second act to get the movie to, or the episode to work. And he's like, and he doesn't remember. I think I've heard Sally Struthers doesn't remember what episode it is, but everyone remembers like there are a couple times they reworked everything. But if you watch that show, it's all just them having a conversation in the house. It very rarely is a show of them leaving the house. God, I love that fucking show. It's such a good show. It is really. I think the one thing about that show is it is not a show you can like just tune out and fall asleep to. Um, which like his father's show, Dick Van Dyke, I can relax. And the Dick Van Dyke Show, which if you didn't know, his father is a whole other thing, Carl Reiner. The Dick Van Dyke Show is actually should be called the Carl Reiner Show because it's about Carl Reiner's life. They just Carl Reiner wasn't a star and Dick Van Dyke was, so that's why that is. And that's a great show. But it is very much All in the Family is very confrontational. It's very controversial. I mean, they made a bigot the funny lead of the show. It was really kind of wild, and he really held his own on that with Carol O'Connor and Sally Struthers, and forget the name of Edith's real name actually. But man, it was. I really do love All in the Family. I would like in middle school, I had a printed out episode guide and would check off one. And I think I've seen most of it back then. It's been a while actually. But for him to go from probably, if we're going to make a list of the greatest sitcoms of all time, one of them his dad created about, him and his mom. And then one he starred in, just a real huge legacy. And also that is an insane Gene. Thank you, Ryan Wilson, Gene Stapleton. I should have remembered that. She's also in You've Got Mail. If you didn't know. But just such quality work. I know seeing him slowly fall off and become irrelevant always bothered me because I always felt like he had such great talent. And I know North sort of ruined him. I know he had The American President and Ghost of Mississippi, which I've heard no one mention. And I believe he got some Oscar nominations, which he directed. I sort of remember Ghost of Mississippi. I remember watching American President on TV. I saw Story of Us in theaters, which came out the same day as Fight Club, but I saw Fight Club on Saturday with my dad. Um, which that's a whole experience. Seeing Fight Club that opening weekend was wild. Um, okay, William Ellman, thank you for bringing it up because I actually sort of wanted to talk about that. William Ellman says, and with a very generous super chat, which we will do the flashlights after this. We're sort of talking about a serious thing, so maybe let's wait till next is the Tom Cruise space movie. So I'll save it for that. I think if that's okay with everybody. William Ellman, cheers to you, man. Says, did you see Being Charlie, Nick Rainer's semi-biographical film? As an addict myself, when I watched it, I saw it as a smokescreen to convince his dad and the world he's in recovery when he never planned on stopping never planned on stopping very sad. That's interesting actually. I it is on Tubi if you want to watch it. I'm sure I haven't seen a really good critical analysis of it. And I do think somebody's got to do it. I don't feel very comfortable right now doing it. I think it is a thing because his later filmographies, he did like The Bucket List, I think is his biggest thing. I think that's the last Nicholson movie. Maybe it's the last big Nicholson movie at least. And that, and it's like Alex and Emma, and he did The Rumor Has It where he took over the production when that guy got fired, and about The Graduate and all that. But I'd never really even heard of Being Charlie. I don't know, William Almond, did you see it before all this, or you see it after? I'm actually curious. Does anyone see it before? I'd never even, maybe I'd glanced at it when I'd look at like what happened to that guy. I know he did an LBJ movie too, but I am curious to see it, and I think like as that story goes on, that film has become a lot more interesting, unfortunately. And I think interesting is being, yeah, I am sort of interested to see it. I don't know if I'm ready. There's also a lot going on. It's like Christmas, and I don't even know when I'll see the sure thing because there's other Christmas stuff and end of the year stuff, and it's not a good time to revisit things. Although I do think a lot of people said there will be revisitations and rescreenings of his work, which I do think. One thing I have thought with all this is we take a lot of artists for granted until they're gone, and I think Rob Reiner, when we're re-looking at all this stuff, oh, how do you know came? Well, I'll give you this, Sinram. How do you know it didn't do well? That's the difference. Bucket List, I believe, did well. That's the difference. But I don't know. I am interested to see it. But yeah, has anyone, William Elman? Did you see? Sorry if I'm asking this. Did you see Being Charlie before or after, or what is your relationship with it? And I hope you're doing okay, admitting that publicly and all that stuff as well. But yeah, I know Rob Reiner was involved in like this like JFK assassination podcast. Who's going to reveal who did it? Oh, I saw it at the now torn down STL Theater, the shortly after Nick and his dad were pushing it very hard on the Howard Stern show. Interesting. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Okay. I mean, I didn't know much about his kids before this, and now we know a lot about. I also feel bad for his daughter who found them. I really can't imagine that. So I don't know. It's just sad. It's a real tragedy. But anyway, what I was saying is we don't take a lot of these artists for granted. But I do think he had a great run. I would like to see the Sure Thing, which I know is like not considered part of his great run. I would say people are starting to say, and I agree with it, that his um his great run, which is from Spinal Tap, I guess A Few Good Men was sort of the end of it because North happened. Well, two things about that. One is like I think his great run does go up to like I think it's similar to the Spielberg. Spielberg had an amazing run, which I believe his earlier stuff is still really good, but like Duel is kind of underrated. But from Jaws till about Raiders, no, is it Jaws to E.T.? Sorry, Jaws to E.T. is pretty insane. I know people Color Purple seems to be controversial, but most people believe Jaws to E.T. is a pretty wild film run. Other film runs like John Woo's Hong Kong stuff, like from I've seen more people talk about those, and I actually want to review those. Bruce Lee's group of movies, uh, what's considered the Walt Disney classic period, which would be from I guess Snow White, is it Snow White, Pinocchio, Bambi, Dumbo, Fantasia. That's a pretty wild one. Studio Ghibli with Hayao Miyazaki's. I mean, those some of these are insane runs, but I would put Rob Reiner's like if we're talking about insane runs. I would put that in there. And I know the Sure Thing. I don't know. It's been talked about quite a deal, but I would say that. The other thing is that's interesting. I think I talked about my Tom Cruise thing. Yeah, 1941 is the odd one, but I'll give 1941 one thing is very interestingly made shot, probably one of the best made comedy, like cinematography wise comedies of that time, and it's like very weird to watch peak Spielberg be off is like wow, it's like so weird to be like he was so like killing it on all cylinders. I even think Lucas from THX to Return of the Jedi had a good run, but I don't know. Lucas is like Coppola. I mean Coppola in the '70s. I think Jim Henson, director, what I don't know. Anyway, we could just list off people who've had good runs. But anyway, what was I gonna say? Okay, so this was one I sort of knew, and Drew McWeeny, who wrote about it, and I'd sort of heard versions of this story, but he kind of cleared it up, and it seems to be so. Apparently, Rob Reiner was going to do Shawshank Redemption. He wanted to do Shawshank Redemption with Tom Cruise, and he worked with Tom Cruise in A Few Good Men, and he wanted to do it, and he would have been the Tim Robbins part. However, Frank Darabont had it in his contract. He has to direct. He would not sell to Castle Rock if he didn't direct. And Rob Reiner, instead of being a Hollywood dick, which he could have been, he just did A Few Good Men, which was a huge hit, Oscar nominated, with a huge stars, unparalleled success. Could have said, "Fuck you, man. I don't give a shit. I'll pay you off. Here you go." Didn't do that. let him make the Shawshank Redemption as it is, regardless of what you feel about that movie. But and apparently, even though he was very aware that North was not going to go down well, supported him, and watch someone like take the movie he wanted and have a really good movie and get Oscar nominated and all this stuff. And even I'd heard that he watched it in the screening room and was very silent and watched it and was totally supportive, and everyone thought it like sort of bugged him, but he didn't let it show. He's never really said that it bugged him, so since he never said that, I will not acknowledge that. But it probably sucked to have the movie you wanted get Best Picture nominated, while yours is considered by Roger Ebert a movie so bad he named his worst movies book after it. But the thing that people leave out of that story, which I was like kind of funny, because Rob Reiner is one of the co-founders of Castle Rock, which also had Seinfeld, and he made a lot of money off his production company. They also had Shawshank Redemption. He might have made more off Shawshank Redemption than fucking uh, Frank Darabont. I was like, people are like, man, what a great guy. I'm like, I don't know. Those checks probably didn't hurt so bad. So, his director career definitely fell off after that. But it is funny. Everyone's like, what a mensch, what a great guy. I'm like, yeah, but he was like, well, it's gonna be nice getting those. I mean, I'm sure that he was a nice guy, but he did get some money from that. Oh yes, William Owen. I remember they really went after every Rob Reiner and Sally Struthers. They did not like, even though they acknowledge that's how I got into All in the Family with South Park, because they would say Cartman is Archie Bunker, and it's funny I don't know if they ever went after Gene. Maybe they're holding back on Gene Stapleton. Um, Next episode they're like, let's go all in. And I don't think they made fun of Carol O'Connor, to my understanding, but they really went on in on those guys. But obviously, like anyone who worked on All the Family, it's a pretty liberal show. I know people go, no, it's not. I'm like, I don't know what show you're watching, but it didn't make Archie look like the smartest guy in the world. Anyway, Zane Power says, is North actually the worst movie Ebert saw? I don't think it's the worst, but I posted, you can find it on Instagram. Richard Bell's, first off, cheers to you, Zane Powers. It's weird watching that clip because isn't Richard Belzer's dead, I believe? And it's Rob Reiner reading the review and he's dead. Of Roger Ebert, who's also dead. It was like, this is just a whole trifecta of dead dudes. But he didn't roast him. He just handed him the Ebert review. But I love that Rob Reiner read the worst part, and then he was like, if you read through the lines, it's not that bad. And I was like, oh man. Sally Struthers was the daughter in Dinosaur. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's a good callback to All in the Family. Cheers to you, Zane Powers. Anyway, like I say with any big death that we talk about here, use this opportunity. Don't look at it as you're being morbid or jumping on the train or something like that. This is when you're going to hear more pieces and more praise and more info about them. Use that and see one of these movies that I'm talking all about. If you haven't seen it, there's one. Let's say you haven't seen Spinal Tap. Don't be embarrassed. Just fucking see it. Just see Misery. See one of it. I'm going to see The Sure Thing. I did that with Redford. I'm in any major one that was a big deal to me. I'm like, I want to learn more. Use this as an opportunity. I know that sounds weird, but engage more with their art or rewatch something you wanted to. But don't feel bad about that. If you've never seen All in the Family, though, seriously, it's on a lot of rerun channels. It is an all-time great show, and everyone is great in it. Earlier seasons are better, but it's still still really good. So I would highly recommend both. Thank you, Rob Reiner, for everything. I really, my early film fan thing was just learning more and more about him and his filmography and thinking it was really cool. I knew his dad did The Jerk and also has an insane legacy. The Reiners, feels weird talking about that family now, but anyway, just real comedic geniuses. It's sad how it ended. I don't know if I really have the right words for that. I don't think it's just addiction. I think there are other mental issues at play there. But we're gonna see, and I feel bad for his other kids who I don't know what they're going to do. But anyway, um, check out something from Rob Reiner. He really had an all time great run. He, I mean, without Spinal Tap, I know the Ruddles was first, but let's be real. The influences from Spinal Tap, our culture, we wouldn't have Abbott Elementary. I agree with that. We wouldn't have Modern Family. We wouldn't have The Office. We wouldn't have Christopher Guest as he was. But it's like from Misery, like Kathy Bates. She's on TV now. You wouldn't have Kathy Bates. You wouldn't have You Can't Handle the Truth. You wouldn't. I mean, I was like, we're watching Princess Bride with the kids this year. I was like, we're doing that. It's it's just like I don't know. I don't know if I have words for like all that he left us and all his influence and everything like that. And it's very sad that he's gone. And uh but yeah. Anyway, R.I.P. to Rob Reiner. Please check out some of his great work. All right, I'm gonna just do I don't know where this all adds up. So we're gonna start the flashy stuff, and then I will acknowledge these super chats. Thank you guys for your support and all that. Let's see. Nathaniel Focus said, I once made a 12-second animation for my college course where my character throws a copy of North on the toilet. It was humorous to me at the time. I didn't know you ever animated Nathaniel Focus. That's awesome, man. Cheers to you. I didn't know your character hated North so much. I've only seen North as a kid. I remember not liking it as a kid. I could not tell you anything about it. Although I did find, cheers to you, Nathan. Elijah Wood did a tribute to Rob Reiner, because obviously worked with him. And I was like, that's probably the only tribute that was like, oh yeah, right. You're North. Anyway, cheers to you, Nathan. And William Elma says, I'm pretty sure if I had a seance to contact the dead Robert, to contact the dead Roger. Okay, let me start that over. Pretty sure if I had a seance to contact the dead Roger Ebert and ask him was the worst movie, he would say Buffalo 66. I think he liked Buffalo. I think he might be wrong. I think it might be Brown Bunny. But he did maintain the recut Brown Bunny was better. I think he liked that one. But I don't remember. It's been a while. I used to follow Ebert. Cheers to you, William. Yeah, we're not quite at the other one, but you do deserve this. And we did talk about a serious thing. And we liked it. It's just me. I like to cheer up the bit. Like I have a lighting guy back here. I wish I did, because these lights are hanging by a thread. I think in the new year, next time me and the son go to Home Depot for the kids building thing, I might have to get new lights, but I hope they're on sale. All right, let's talk about the a 3 out of 4. Okay, either way, he didn't like him and Vincent Gallo. Man, remember when he was in what was that music video? It was Glassjaw, and it's just him waking up next to a woman and walking. And the video, sorry, we'll talk about this Glassjaw video. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? This is the Alex Zooks should definitely be here for this. But if anyone else remembers, oh hey, Major Mekazawa. It's basically Vincent Gallo wakes up in this apartment and he gets on a suit and he walks and he keeps cutting the band Glassjaw, like performing their song, and then he finds them in an alley and just like, I think he like breaks their guitar or something. Awesome idea for a video. I don't know. Anyway, I don't remember. Yeah, Vincent Gallo. What a 2000s. I haven't heard about him in a while. Anyway, what did he say? Like, man, the Ebert and Gallo fight was an epic one, and now I don't know what happened to Vincent Gallo after Brown Bunny. I'd never be curious. I'm sure his politics are me and my son. Yeah, no, they do this. Whatever. All right, Tom Cruise. We talked about, if you remember, I did a short about his space movie where he would go to space, prove Scientology is real, drive away in a spaceship for all time, and play the Limp Bizkit Mission Impossible theme, which I still maintain is how that movie should end, and that would be an amazing ending to a Hollywood career. It's like Scientology is right, and then it's like just Wes Borland playing guitar. But so we've been hearing about okay, Thursday, awesome. Alex, do you remember the Glassjaw video with Vincent Gallo? Just tell me you do. If you don't, check it out. Anyway, I don't even remember if Glassjaw's that good. Was it Glassjaw? Whatever. That era. Irregardless. Tom Cruise. Vincent Gallows is where he'll star alongside Amelia Perez. I'm not even sure if that's real or not, but it sounds like it is. We talked about the Tom Cruise space movie where he was actually going to shoot a movie in space, like in actual space, not in like your own space, but like the space that's outside the Earth. And that's what he was going to do. He was going to shoot it in space. And he'd been talking about it for a while. And apparently it got killed because he would have need to ask the federal government, because you can't just like go to space apparently. Fucking government. Uh you can't just go to space. You need federal authorization to use NASA resources and stuff like that, obviously, because we just all don't have rockets in our backyards, even Tom Cruise. And because to do that, he would have had to talk to Trump and then do a favor for Trump. And this is not a new thing. Tom Cruise turned down like the Kennedy Center honor, I think, because Trump would be involved, and he's like distanced himself from the Trump stuff, despite that he has actually worked with Ellison and their family before. So because of that, the space movie is not happening. Tom Cruise does seem, and this isn't a jokey thing here, after the final reckoning, seems to want to keep topping himself in terms of stunts and stuff. I do not think that is a good idea. Uh, uh, sorry, Carter. Yeah, I guess whatever. Just to clear it up, what if someone thought I was talking about like the extra room in their apartment? But it does seem like he wants to keep topping that. I have heard most people, as time has gone on, like Final Reckoning less and less, despite it being on a few top 10 lists. Like regular people shit on that movie a lot. But he did want to do this deep sea movie, which almost every studio turned down. Although we did get a kind of sort of a teaser thing for his Inuritu movie Digger, which is like a rich guy who thinks he can save the world and this disaster ends the world or something. But I don't. I think the space thing sounded cool. The underwater thing, I don't think. I don't know what that would have been. Although the underwater stuff in Final Reckoning, I thought was actually really cool. Like his like, I thought that was actually really neat. To be 100%, I thought that was a cool idea. But I do like that he won't help out Trump. But it sounded more like he didn't want to have to deal with doing a favor for an asshole and less a political thing. Although to my understanding, Tom Cruise uh is pretty, if to my understanding, is liberal, but he doesn't really comment on that stuff. Although I know he's like not happy with the Ellisons, and that happened before all this, and supposedly he might have known something that is highly speculative. And I will say that is highly speculative, so don't go on like repeating that shit. But we'll see. Zane Power says, why can't he use another country's space program? That is actually a good point. Remember when Lance Bass from NSYNC was trying to use Russia to go to space and didn't? Man, that was, we don't talk. There's not enough videos about that, but that was like a whole thing. Anyway, cheers to using powers. I don't know if he has tried other space programs. It might be no one wants to, because Final Reckoning was big for him, but like the budget was so big, and it seems he wants to make these hugely expensive movies. But he's pushing it in terms of the. We'll talk about what star power can do for other kinds of movies later in the box office part. But I just don't see him being able to do that to that degree. Even like Avengers Doomsday or whatever shouldn't cost what Tom Cruise movies are starting to cost. So I think I don't know. We'll see what the full deal is, but later I guess. But it is interesting. He's had these huge, big budget projects not go anywhere. But I do think he sort of needs to move away from Mission Impossible and that kind of thing. And like, I don't think like the huge stake stuff. Like the stakes got too high in that last one. I was talking. Hey, Heather Portillo. I was talking to someone about to say it's like the problem with the last one is the stakes were like way too high, and I did like that in his performance he had like the pressure um of like the whole idea of it, but I think like you can't really go that far, and I he should have learned his lessons from that. Although the space thing's been in development for a while, I think it would have been a cool idea to have an actual movie star in space. Could have been cool. um I mean, they almost had Big Bird go to space, but that didn't. Obviously, we know why that didn't happen. But I don't know. I kind of think the stunt thing, he needs to move on. He's a better star than just the stunt guy. Um, he has more range and could do more interesting stuff. And I am surprised he picked Inarritu, but I don't think there's like a lot of people thought he should have worked with Tarantino or the Coen brothers or Scorsese again, and that hasn't really worked out as much. So I don't know. Maybe because he's like kind of a lot to deal with, but I hope it seems like this era he wanted to continue the Final Reckoning thing. I don't think I'm out of line saying that seems to be what he's doing. And I think it's best he leaves it alone. The space thing was fun. It was funny to joke about during COVID times that he was going to go to space and prove Scientology was real and all that stuff. You can watch that video. It's still there. One of my better random stream riffs ever. Well, maybe the best one. I think I reposted it around. Oh, and Zane Powers is in it. Sorry about that, Zane Powers. I know you were excited for that job. Man, I forgot about that. Man, and you're going to be the best part. I so much. Now I do want that to be a throwback, but there's like too many other things to throw back to right now. But anyway, all right, let's move on to the trailer. I know this is the trailer you guys want me to talk about. The Animal Farm trailer. Andy Serkis's Animal Farm. Now, what I had heard about this project, and I'd heard about this, gosh, like 12 years ago or something. Andy Serkis, who, obviously is very, probably the greatest trained mocap actor of all time, from being Gollum and Kong and Caesar and the Planet of the Apes movies. And he would actually teach people how to do motion capture acting. And he had like this facility. And he keep talking about how he's going to do a motion capture Animal Farm. And I was like, that sounds really cool. You're just going to do and he'd be like, we're going to do the book and motion capture. And I kept hearing about it. And I was like, and I saw his Venom. I did not see his Jungle Book thing or whatever. But I still like him as a motion capture actor. We can all admit he's very good at that, right? But then the trailer of this, which is by Angel Studios, which is a studio of quality, I guess, did this that looks very much animated. I did not look motion capture at all. And takes Animal Farm and basically makes it a big CG kids movie. I think aren't we past 40? Yes, we are. Okay, we'll just have this flash for a little bit. But it's it's written by Nick Stoller. I didn't realize that. It just looks really bad, and it's very disappointing when it stinks when you hear about a movie that's interesting in development. Like I had read, actually, I'm not joking about this. I read in a magazine about the butterfly effect in the late 90s, and it sounded really cool. And I know it was a script for a very long time. This isn't a joke. That a lot of people were like, oh, we should make this be really good. And then I think Ashton Kutcher was trying to be like a smart person. He's not. But and try to make it, and it like did not work out really. But that was one because I remember when it was coming out, I was like, oh fuck, I remember hearing about this, and I thought it sounded cool. I didn't read the script; I just read like a paragraph in a Premiere magazine or something. But like this, I do think you could do something interesting if like his mocap idea and what it sounded to me like, his regular kind of mocap, like Weta was going to be involved. But man, I guess he just did whatever he could do to get it made, but it sort of doesn't. It really looks very bad, and like it's like they change it to make it more like a kids anime. I don't know what he's doing. They had the weird CIA one, which I think is generally considered to be the best adaptation, I guess. But I don't know. I think you could have done a big budget mocap thing, and it probably would have been better for streaming. But it's wow. It looks so bad. It's so disappointing because I had such high hopes. I'm like, Seth Rogen's one of the voices in it. And yeesh. Yeesh. All right. We learned more about the Exorcist movie that Scarlett Johansson is in. It's going to be called The Exorcist Martyr. She's apparently playing a detective. I'll talk more about her Batman 2 thing as well. It does seem like they're going ahead with this. They have a... What's going on over there? Okay. They have a kid involved and stuff. It seems like a hard reset on the thing with Mike Flanagan and stuff. I am really curious what this will be. But yeah, it seems like she is not coming back to. I don't think she'll be in any of the Marvel stuff anymore. I think she definitely bounced from Disney and is like going to the other studios, which she should do. She's a big star. All right, we're gonna talk about um. Whoa, man, these lights are on their last legs here. We're going to talk about the Netflix thing for a little bit. And there was some speculation, which I heard tonight, which I actually think is interesting. What are you doing? One was that the Paramount deal is kaput. Paramount tried to do a hostile takeover and went to the shareholders and offered them more money. However, Warner's has basically been like, Netflix is a better deal. I think what's really hurting the Ellisons in this case is they have barely owned a studio for any amount of time and have not actually launched anything successful fully as the studio. So why would you want to do this? And they're like, we'll make more money staying with Netflix. Netflix has sort of been like, we're probably going to keep more of the theatrical thing. And it doesn't seem like they're going to disrupt too much at this time. I think because they probably looked at all the money Warner's makes through various resources and didn't want to fuck that shit up. And as time goes on, like, they're looking at like, yeah, okay. This is a little, okay. Okay. Yep. Okay. Um, it, okay. Are these going to work? No, this might be it for these guys. As the Ellisons, I mean, I think they. Hold on. Sorry. I think my patch job has now reached its conclusion. Oh, man. I have it sort of between two things, and it was kind of working. Okay, let me try one more time, and then I'll leave it alone. Hold on. I think it's up. Okay. All right, I think we're gonna leave that alone for now. Sorry. Okay. Oh, William Oman says the Exorcist franchise is like a slot machine that hasn't been hit in a long time. Sooner or later, one of the sequels gonna hit big. I think that's how they feel about it, but I don't agree. But cheers to you, William Oman. Sorry about the lights. It was disappointing. I really thought I saved them. Oh, working for what? No one's epileptic, right? I think we'll be fine. Where were we? Sorry. But yeah, it's basically that the Ellisons don't. All right, forget it. Sorry. It's basically that they know the Warner Brothers is a better thing for them. Also, that the Ellisons showed they did not actually. It wasn't all them. You have to deal with Saudi money. Jared Kushner was involved for $200 million. All sorts of weird rumors with that. The only thing, and so they rejected that Paramount deal. The one thing that I will say that was brought up by Jeff Snyder, and he's been bringing this up a lot, and I talked about it before, and he has theories on it, which I don't think are unfounded, and that's why I bring them up. So I'll say this: he very much thinks Warner should buy out J.K. Rowling and get her off of Harry Potter because it is their biggest franchise. And I don't think that's out of line to say it's their biggest franchise because when Netflix released a thing, the two images today were Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things and Daniel Radcliffe as Harry Potter. And I'm sure Netflix is like, we're going to spend all this money. We want him to come back and do probably the Cursed Child, the Broadway show as a movie or something, or do other movies. The problem is the three, as they are, will not work with J.K. Rowling because of her extreme transphobia. Warner's probably didn't have that money. Netflix might have the money to get her to go away and just give them the rights to Harry Potter. Now, the problem is you'd be giving $10 billion, which a lot of people think it would be, to a transphobe, which is not a great thing. Let's be real. But they're probably like, how can we get you, maybe put a gag order on her or something. But there has been, I've seen that speculation growing and growing. We'll see what the deal is ultimately. But I do think we're gonna see them have to figure out Harry Potter. I don't think that show is the answer. I think that show is never the answer. It was a bad idea. Animated show I think would be cool, but we'll see where that show is going to go. But ultimately, I do think at some point they're going to have to figure out what her deal is, and I'm sure she has a number, or But I think, she's really ruined that franchise. I also think like we kind of need a break. Like I just don't think there needs to be more content right now. I think you need to leave it alone. And Netflix is good at kind of like taking time to develop something like we've seen in Stranger Things. Like they will wait, and it might actually be better overall for them to have Harry Potter because they will be able to um uh they will be able to wait and develop something better rather than do like that shitty TV show I do. So in other big news was um YouTube has gotten the Oscars. The Oscars or the Academy Awards have decided to. The last Oscars on ABC will be 2028, and starting in 2029, it will be broadcast on YouTube. Depending on who you're talking to, who's telling you this. Sorry, some people say, "Oh, YouTube really needs to shape up to have the Oscars." YouTube, if you didn't know, I know you're watching YouTube right now because you're watching me and stuff. Is the biggest streaming service. It is Netflix. His biggest problem, its two rivals, is YouTube and sleep, as they said. And it is the biggest streaming service. Most people do not have issues with YouTube. People bring up like Mr. Beast and stuff, but for the most part, there's lots of people who watch all sorts of things on it, YouTube that is not most. I don't know anyone who really watches Mr. Beast currently, and so I think like having the Oscars on there probably makes a lot more sense because every year at the Oscars, people are like, "How do I stream the Oscars?" And if it's on YouTube, no one's gonna ask that because if you say, "Oh, it's on YouTube," no one goes, "How do I watch YouTube?" Like that sounds stupid. But if you say anything else that's on streaming that's not on YouTube, you say, "How do I watch?" Like that's pretty normal. I do know people have said YouTube needs to class it up. I don't think they have to do shit. I think it'll be a lot better for the Oscars. They don't have to, ABC might have been worse for um, the Academy Awards than anything because now YouTube they like stuff like this that goes on for this stream because it goes on for 2 hours. They like stuff like that. That is something that they do very well. And you can do timestamps. Like if you're like, oh, I'll watch it later, and you can scroll past and find best actor or best director or whatever you want to watch. You can do more content because you don't have to worry about time slots. And like one thing I think that's really cool about YouTube is I know bigger channels, but you're like, well, the algorithm will be fucked up, and that's something that is true. But you could make like a more niche thing between when you're making the big things, and that can work out for you. And I think that could work out for the Academy. They could have other programs. They could do the luncheon. They could do the Governor's Award and stuff. I think this is a really good thing. Most younger Oscar people really like it. but I don't understand why people think this is a bad thing or YouTube is needs to change or something like that. I don't agree with that. I think that's really stupid. Um, the only other thing that was interesting is they have said they will most likely sub license it to a broadcast network. So, how that will work with the streaming aspect on YouTube might be something that changes there, but we'll see uh, what happens. But I think it's a great move. I don't think it's a bad move at all. I think most people on have the number one free streaming service is YouTube. I'm curious. I was joking like the chat during the show is going to be crazy. They can just disable the chat. They stuff like that. I don't know. I think and the red carpet coverage does very well in ratings. They can have like fashion people and various things, but what they did is with their NFL coverage, supposedly, is they hired people who know how to make NFL coverage. They don't. YouTube is very much like, let's just get the people who know how to do this and leave them alone. They could maybe get Be Kind Rewind to do something or other more film people as well. But I don't think the prestige is like Zane Empire says. I don't think the prestige is tarnished. Actually, I think it's actually hurting them more to be with ABC and being cut down, and they can go along and not worry about the evening news despite the sub licensee that really will not matter by 2029. I just don't see that happening. So I think that'll be good. And I'm disappointed about the lights. I really thought All right, we're going to do. Man, always running long tonight. Oh, well. All right, so if you heard about the Tangled live action casting, there's a lot of names. I know Sabrina Carpenter was considered, and they kept saying, "Oh, she's too pretty." I don't think that was the case. I think she was too expensive. Disney famously gave, I think, Will Smith a huge payday for Aladdin. I think it was like 50 to 70 million or something overall, because of singing and performing. I don't think Sabrina Carpenter would have gotten Will Smith money, but I'm sure she would have been more expensive than the people they were considering. So anytime you see, when I saw the list, I was like, she was too much money. That is what happened there, and I think it's not the greatest move for her. But it seems like they're like, the name Tangled is enough. We don't need a star, and that's what happened. That's all there. All right. So for trailers, we had Spielberg's latest Disclosure Day. I know this is Spielberg saying, "Can we get this back?" No. Oh. Oh man. Okay. Sorry. I'm a fiddler, and I was like, "Can we get it?" Oh well. All right. Disclosure Day, which is the alien invasion type movie from Spielberg, coming out next summer. It has Josh O'Connor, Emily Blunt, various different actors. It looks. I don't know. The thing with Spielberg and the alien stuff, he doesn't get enough credit for Close Encounters. Really did invent the post Watergate alien stuff that the X Files would obviously take the mantle of, but he really started that whole thing with Close Encounters. He reinvented it for War of the Worlds. I think this is like, what if everyone got all the information about other worlds and stuff is the thing there. I don't know. His CG like redoing this very much felt like a Spielberg blockbuster, which we haven't seen in a while. But I didn't like the overall look of it. I really wish is he working with, because that one DP he always works with. I really wish he'd work with a different DP. It looks like the same guy. I didn't look it up. I wasn't that um super. I also regret not seeing Mastermind and Blood Tea. I'm with you on that. I wasn't super taken by it. It seems to me it's very much selling like, oh, it's Spielberg and aliens. I don't know if that means as much to people. Um, I I don't know. I'm not as sold on this as much as I thought I would. I'm excited for a big Spielberg movie, but it just like doesn't. It looks a little odd and stuff. I'm curious about that, but it just doesn't hit me. But I also think the thing with the Spielberg stuff with this is, I remember when World of the Worlds came out, they were very much selling like, this is a late '70s Spielberg movie again, and I'm just like, and we all bought it, and then it wasn't. So I like Kaminsky to a point. I just wish Spielberg would work with someone else. It gets like kind of boring. Like he used to work with different DPs, and then like I don't know. It's just like he just stopped after he met Joust Kaminsky. Like he just works with him every time now, and like I just find it disappointing. And Jurassic Park was by the guy who used to work with Carpenter, and I thought that worked out better than I don't know. I just think he could mess it up a little. Anyway, other trailers, we got the one that everyone's talking about today, which was the Sheep Detectives about Hugh Jackman is a shepherd with his sheep, and he dies, and he used to read murder mysteries to his sheep, and his sheep then decide to go and solve the mystery of their dead shepherd, who has a huge fortune and stuff like that. Looks like a lot of fun. I don't think anyone knew about it before that. Dean Cundy, yeah, get Dean Cundy. Come on. But I don't know. I was like, this does look fun. It looks like a cute little movie of sheep who are voiced by celebrities solving a mystery, and the humans can't understand them. They just hear them to go bah and stuff like that. It looked fun. I'm not against it. I hope it actually turns out to be pretty good. There was a Pedro Almodovar trailer, which I could not tell what it was about, but it looked neat. Good for him. Like there was no dialogue in it. It was just like pictures. It was like, oh, cool. Neato. It's like not a great trailer. And then we got one trailer, a couple of trailers actually. One that I didn't hear a lot talk about, which was a newer Send Help trailer where we learned Rachel McAdams' character is a huge Survivor fan and was trying to get on Survivor, which I didn't know that was an aspect of it, which actually looks sort of interesting. A new element to it. I was like, oh, that's okay. I like that she's like an underappreciated person in her office who very much wants to be on Survivor and then has to survive on an island. Is an interesting approach. I didn't hear much post about that trailer, but I saw it was definitely a different trailer than what we'd already seen. I am excited for the new Sam Raimi movie. I would like to do Simple Plan, his other kind of plane crash movie, I guess. Where are we? Oh, the Jimmy Stewart biopic looked terrible. I get the idea of like his World War II period seems to be more exciting to people right now. I'm not exactly sure. I guess because It's a Wonderful Life is such a huge movie, but Jimmy Stewart has so many. I don't know. I would have done like maybe his Hitchcock years or his earlier Frank Capra or But I was also like, I don't want a Jimmy Stewart biopic. Like, don't do a Jimmy Stewart biopic. This sounds it's horrible. In other trailers, we had the normal trailer with Bob Odenkirk. He's doing the action thing. I haven't seen any of his action movies, although I've heard nobody two are fun. Maybe else I don't know. Maybe I should just do finally see and read the first Nobody before this, but it looked like kind of like Assault on Precinct 13 or something. And then I used to do conservative documentaries a long time ago. I really don't want to be one of those people who's like constantly. It's not that I like them. I just like don't like engaging with that. But I did see the Melania trailer. I know I didn't realize it was going to be in theaters. It's a Brett Ratner directed Melania documentary. It just looked like she was like around Trump and stuff going on there, and I was like, okay. But my favorite part of the whole trailer at the end, I think it's like he won the presidency or something, and he's like, "Did you see it? Like, did you see what happened?" And he's all excited, and she's like, "Yeah, no, I'll see it on the news later." Which was like, "What? That's the end of your trailer?" His wife's like, "Yeah, no, it's cool. You're like the president, I guess. That's neat." But yeah, good luck with that. I'll it'll be on the 11 o'clock news. I'll see it. You're the president. I'll deal with it. But it was like very funny. Um, the end of that trailer made me laugh. It's like, wow, she seems like a really involved woman there. It's like what I was very lost on what we're doing with the ending of that. Who cut that? It's very odd. And finally, I know there is a bunch of stuff about the AI trailer nonsense with Avengers Doomsday. I almost got confused by it because I noticed their new trick is if we make it um really, really small. I kept seeing it really small and I was like, what? I couldn't really see it very well because they made the frame small. It wasn't even that my eyes are bad or something. It was like they made the image really small. And I was like, what? And then I could see it was AI. I was like, this is the new AI trick. Yeah, there's a fucking great technology. Apparently, it's in theaters with some screenings of Avatar, but not all of them. And we officially know that Chris Evans is back as Steve Rogers, and he has a kid in this alternate dimension. There's various AI summaries, although YouTube has majorly come down on two of the biggest AI trailer makers and like basically taken them all down. I think I know they demonetized a bunch of them, and I guess they're still going or something. I'm not sure. They all look pretty bad, but then I'll see an image and go, "Wait, somebody thought they would do uh, what was it? Like Timothy Chalamet as Frodo, and then Tom Holland as Samwise." I was like, that doesn't even. I guess because they're short dudes. I was like lost on that one. Anyway, I remember when they were all doing the dark fantasy thing. That was a time, and now it's like they don't even have a perspective anymore. Jesus, fucking stupid ass shit. All right, um, okay. Let's do some animation things in the box office. I guess I did hype up Batman 2 stuff. We'll just run along a little bit. For Batman 2, here are the things. One, it's supposed to be very long Halloween influence. Supposedly, Scarlett Johansson is playing Gilda Gold, who's like the killer in the Long Halloween. Supposedly, we don't know who's playing Harvey Dent, but they cast Scarlett Johansson, so someone who can play off her. And the rumor was that the Harvey Dent's dad, they at least reached out to Brad Pitt, which was semi confirmed, and he said no. So it seems like they want to get like a pretty big older star for Harvey Dent's father, and that the new Batman 2 will be very long Halloween influence. We are aware of that. So if you're wondering, hey, Super Dusky, that is what's going on rumor wise, but we know she's playing Gilda Gold right now. We'll see if that changes and stuff, but I don't think that's spoilers. Which one? But anyway, oh well, we don't actually know if they're gonna do Long Halloween, how influenced it's not gonna be a direct adaptation. So, okay, we know J.G. Quintel's new series Super Mutant Magic Academy is now expected to release in late 2026. We also learned two Cartoon Saloon news. One, they have a short that's I'm not sure how to say this right. That's spelled EIRU, which is shortlisted for Best Animated Short about a Viking princess. If I can see that and do a review of it, I will. And that Tom Moore's latest film, hold on, I have a link for it because I forgot to just copy it like a stupid idiot, called Kindred Spirits. It's about an Irish refugee child alone in New York in 1847. A Choctaw, I guess, son far from the warmth of his family when he cannot accept his family's passing in the spirit realm. Together, they are searching for people to call family and a place to call home, exploring the historic bond between Irish and the Choctaw nations. Kindred Spirits is a film about grace, compassion, and humanity. It looks cool if you can see the poster. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. It's like about Native American Irish brother. Okay, I'm into that. But yeah, that is coming out next year. So it sounds like it's going to be another cool Cartoon Saloon year. And I think they could get a bit. Animated shorts a weird shortlist category and all that. All right, we are past midnight, but we don't have a huge. We're just talking about the Obiworks thing, so I'll just go through the box office very quickly. Apologize that we were running a little long here. Last weekend, Zootopia 2 reclaimed the number one slot, at least in America and the world. It's doing huge in China, made over $1 billion worldwide, and 25 million in America. And it is only 80 million behind the original Zootopia, which it could top, we'll see. And it's the fifth biggest of all time, or sixth biggest of all time Disney animated film, and has outgrossed Moana, not adjusted for inflation, made about over $260 million. It is a huge hit. I did learn Frozen 2 is the highest grossing Disney animated film of all time. Didn't know that. Five Nights at Freddy's fell off 69%. Nice. We're still saying that. Is that a joke still? And is the fifth biggest horror movie to cross 100 million. I think it did now we'll see. Oh, William Ellman, thank you for the generosity. It's something interesting I just read that if Nick Reiner is found not guilty by reason of insanity, he would still get a share of the $200 million fortune due to California law. Cool. That kind of sucks. Damn. I didn't think. That stinks. But cheers to you. I hope he doesn't, but I hope he really shouldn't. Can we get this to work? Huh? Okay. Maybe during the break I'll fuck with it. Sorry. Um what's it? Oh, in other ones, this film from India, Daradar, did really well, and actually in only 377 theaters was in fourth place and is doing really, really well internationally as well. I do it the fact that like when I looked at box office, like why is no one talking about this? I don't have the time to see this movie, unfortunately, but I kind of wish I could, because that's amazing that a film can do make $3 million in 377 theaters. It actually is the lowest theater count in the entire top 10, and a few of those are re-releases and specific re-releases, which is insane. So good for that film. The other notable ones is there were two re-releases: How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the 2020 version. By the way, if you're wondering why I haven't done throwbacks for this, because there's a lot of love for that. It got copyright claimed, and I haven't had the time to fight it, so that's why I haven't. So don't watch that review right now, I guess. But it opened at 8, which I didn't realize it got re-released, and The Shining had an IMAX re-release and opened at 10th place. Oh, hey, Kyle Garrison. Then we have Ella McKay, which has been a lot of talk about Ella McKay, which bombed pretty bad, especially for over at 2,500 theaters. Its per theater average was really, really bad. I think the worst one in the top 10. The thing with this is there's all this mid-budget movies can't make money anymore talk. I don't agree with that, and I know I posted this on Twitter or whatever. I don't know if Arco is released yet. I'm a little confused about that. But I still think like if you have a star, like an actual movie star in one of these, and you know, which we saw with One of Them Days with SZA and Keke Palmer, and it's well cast, people will go. But who is this? I don't know who that person was in the lead. If they had, I don't know, like Emma Watson from Harry Potter, or you know, I know people say Sydney Sweeney is box office, even though that really hasn't been true this year, or someone who could have gotten people in, or Rachel McAdams, or someone who people would have been like, oh, they're in this, but they didn't do that. They got, you know, someone they never know. They released it in not a great time for a movie like this. I guess they thought they'd get uh, some Oscar attention and stuff. I really think the problem with the mid-budget movie is not the mid-budget movie. It's that like mid-budget movies used to have like, you know, Sandra Bullock or Keanu Reeves or like a star, and they keep putting nobody's in them and going, oh man, people just don't want to see these anymore. I'm like, you didn't try. Like if you put, I don't know, I just find it super weird that people try to do. I mean, she might be in those things, but it's like there's a difference between someone who people will show up for, and she clearly wasn't that person at this time in this. So, all right, let me do. Anyway, I just found that interesting because it was like I hate the mid-budget conversation because there is an answer. Like if you look at the '90s and stuff, they used to have like a TV star or somebody that they're pretty sure people will go out for, and like you can't have like person who is seventh in line in Barbie is just not good enough. I think so. I mean, Sydney Sweeney. I don't know. I'm very lost on if she's a star at this point or not. It's confusing. Although I guess the housemaid, there's a lot of buzz on that. So maybe, maybe I'm wrong. All right. We had a few obits, and then we will finally take a break. Peter Green, who you probably know from The Mask and brought out the Gimp in Pulp Fiction, died this past week. Um, Also, a fairly big casting director who's been fine. I believe Harry Potter, Susan Diggy passed away, and Gil Gerald, who's in the Buck Rogers from the 25th Century show. I don't know his work at all, really, but I remember ads for it. I think that's I wish I knew about that Shining re-release, by the way. That sounds like a cool IMAX movie. I didn't even know about that. I couldn't have done it, but if I had known, maybe I would have, I don't know. Yes. All right. So I'm going to take a quick break. I might futz with the lights a little. Then we will talk about another in my I Work Silly Symphony series, The Merry Dwarfs, which doesn't really have too much to do with Christmas, but was released around then. And so, who are the 3 prominent VAs that died this week, Kyle Garrison? I thought I talked about them last week. What? When I saw El McKay, I was the only person under 16 in the theater, and halfway through the movie, an old person fell and they had to stop the film, so I left. True story. Ah, that's amazing. Okay, that's my favorite El McKay story right now. I didn't, in the Simpsons promotion. I mean, James L. Brooks only gets to do that because Disney's like, I mean, you do produce the Simpsons, so we better make you happy. But yeah, all right. I have. I think we talked about we talked about Jeff Garcia last week, but R.I.P. to him. Either way, Kyle Carson. Yeah, I talked about Jim Ward. I don't know the French Canadian. I try not to talk about people I really don't know anything about, just because I don't want to misspeak. But R.I.P. to the French Canadian voice actress for Marge Simpson. But anyway, all right, I will be right back, and we will talk about The Merry Dwarves, another of iWorks Silly Symphony. I'm not sure if, I don't know, maybe I've gone a little silly talking about these much, but anyway, I'll talk about that when I get right back, and then we will do questions, and then that'll be it. So I'll be right back. Let me just use the bathroom after this. All right. I was trying. Hello. Egg. Wait, where are we? What is this? Oh, all my things are like, okay. Okay. Sorry. I kept messing with the lights. I don't think you're coming back today. I think this might have been sorry, I think this might have been the lights. Like you watched them die on stream. So that was anyway. Apologies. Next time we have lights, I'll have them flash more times. I guess I'll show Godzilla. If we get to 60, I will show Godzilla. Because I can get it back a little bit, but it just won't. Yeah, it won't. I think I need to redo what I. Man, this is like not good for anyone with seizures. Anyway, sorry. I'm gonna leave it because I can really fiddle with something for a long time. Lights last stand. All right, sorry if anyone has a epileptic. I'm really sorry about that. But where's my Godzilla? What's going on? Okay, I have one Godzilla. You can see Godzilla. If I do have like a replacement thing, but I didn't have it. All right. Oh, Purple Goop. Hey, Purple Goop. All right. So I want to say this will be the last Silly Symphonies for a little bit because the next two are summer and autumn, and I sort of try to do them seasonally because that makes me think that like people might be a little more interested in reviews of very, very old cartoon shorts. So there will be, but after I think it's summer and autumn, there's one that's like called Cannibal something, and I thought like I'll review. Man, that's a fan. That's not really a fan, but whatever. I'm not going to review. I thought about reviewing that one, and I watched it, and it's like super racist. So obviously, like clearly, Iwerks was holding back the racism in the in the Disney Corporation. So, how about this? If we get past another thing, it'll be either Godzilla or King Kong, and the right one is Godzilla, and then the other one I'll show. So I've got two Godzillas and two King Kongs. But anyway, but yeah, so it'll sort of be this and then two more, and then we'll be done with the Iwerks Silly Symphonies. But then I would like to finish the Iwerks Mickey Mouse. I'm sort of just in this, and I like doing it, and I know it's not the coolest or biggest things I make, but it's sort of like my own little research project, and it's fun to do. So there. I don't think any of you are really judging me on this. So today we are going to talk about the Merry Dwarves, which came out on. It actually did come out around December. It came out on December 19th. That's today. Hello. Okay. On December 19th, 1929. All right. I didn't realize it was the anniversary. Sorry. I missed that one. This is credited as directed by Walt Disney, but we know what's up. It was animated by Iwerks, Wilfred Jackson, Les Clark, Johnny Cannon, and Jack Cutting. It is basically about, you basically watch a lot of dwarves in what they call dwarves. They're called the Merry Dwarves. This short, which is, I believe, the fifth Silly Symphony, the sixth Silly Symphony. It's really early in them, and it is in the public domain, which is also why I'm doing it. And you basically just watch them dance around and be silly and fun. It's sort of yet again another kind of riff. It's very similar to sort of Skeleton Dance. Yeah, it's the 96th anniversary of Merry Dwarves. That's what we need. But it's basically a bunch of dwarves having fun and stuff like that. I sort of thought when I picked this, like there's probably like a Christmas thing. This has nothing to do with Christmas at all. I don't know why I'm doing it right now, other than it Mary's in it. It sounds like Christmassy. So if you're watching this expecting this to be Christmas content, Santa Claus, I don't know. But I do like that they have long beards. They have long. I keep seeing people call them Rip Van Winkle beards and stuff. But you're basically watching them do dances. The dances are not really as creative as something like, you know, the springtime one or the skeleton dance, which is like definitely the best of these kind of riff things. It's still a fun thing to have on if you're going to have it on at a party or something. I think it would be fun. And I do like how the animation flows, and I guess people are saying like rubber hose kind of animation. It's a very good example of that. But the other thing with this is interesting. This is the first of these. They actually appear in uh they actually appear in Roger Rabbit when they first go into Toontown in the Smile Darn You Smile, I guess, or whatever, the first song where Eddie Valiant goes into Roger Rabbit, when there's a video of a clip of it or a image of it, and they are in black and white. You see them do the dance they do in the Merry Dwarf. So watching this, you get a little more info um on Roger Rabbit, which is kind of fun. I didn't realize, like, of all of them, you'd think, I don't know why this one seems very obscure. I'm curious what if this is a thing Richard Williams was into or something, but yeah, they appear in Roger Rabbit. But it's fun watching them dance. They're just little dwarves playing with flowers and stuff like that. There's not really much to it. I do think, like, it is interesting how skeleton dance is, like, even if you, I'm gonna read some reviews of the time, is definitely considered like a masterpiece, is really good. But watching more of these, it's pretty clear like skeleton dance was the best that these are ever gonna get. Although these are fun to watch, it just like sets a mood and a time. This does sort of try to do that, but I just like, this has no plot to it. It is like completely just like a lot of doodles and dance cycles and stuff like that. It's totally nonsensical. But you know, that's kind of like what I kind of almost look at it as like ether animation, where like I feel like if you were like my vision of the 20s, where you're like super high on ether and would check these shorts out. I'm sure it was like fun to watch between stuff and like during the film program, but it is sort of just like another little short. Over here is what we got some I mean it's a fine kind of rhythm, like kind of like flow wise, it like totally works, it's fine. It just doesn't really stand out to me whatsoever. It isn't as good as other things, but I can say that from other, let's talk about some uh film reviews from the 1929. One came out actually before the film in December 15th. Said, snappy cartoon. Here is one of the silly symphony series that will cop the glory from a number of features synchronized splendidly. The picture portrays the merry dwarfs in a series of dancing steps which tickle along with peppy rhythm. Don't consider it filler, even though it's short. For many are the laughs it will register with any type of audience anywhere. Truly entertainment for children from 6 to 60. Wow, dude, you were, I don't know. I'm not going to comment on the Film Daily's reporter, but if like, you know, whoa. Then no, it isn't necessary. Someone says that in Variety, who published their review on Christmas. I guess they can't not do it. Said, on the same lines of Skeleton Dance and Spring Fever, not as good, but almost smart and amusing enough for any sound house, just on the novelty and the relief from the stream of medicure, oh god, it's late, of bad singing images the short makers as a rule have been presenting. Cartoon Outfit is evidently feeling the pinch of finding new routines to fit these classical synchronized scores, but a visit to any vaud or picture house, couldn't say vaudeville, I never heard vaud house, playing stage shows should provide the desired material through the hoofers, acrobatic dancers, and what? These animated drawings have yet to poke fun at the poop de oop singers or elbow routines of the hot dancing choruses which have become synchronized by repetition. To delve into the modern era and its tunes might be a bet, unless royalty for those medleys prevents. Wow, what? At least he's admitting that music costs money. Nothing the matter with this Disney series which Columbia is releasing. The reception inevitably outstrips any two one-reelers of the VOD spectacle. Why does he keep saying VOD? What the fuck is wrong with this guy? And then finally, Motion Picture News says, upholds Disney's standard. The cartoon strays from the beaten path insofar as the characters are concerned. It is the first of the series in which humans are introduced, depicting, I don't know about that, depicting their dwarves, not like they're actual mythical dwarves, depicting a rollicking band of gnomes. It's called the Merry Dwarves, dude. Filled with the spirit of music and dance, and how they dance. They twist and turn to the tunes of familiar melodies, a funny cartoon frolic. Motion picture news was definitely the worst of these three. I gotta say, they need to really. I don't know what happened to them, but I can tell why they got canceled. I don't. I do think like if you're gonna watch these, this is like if you're into Skeleton Dance and his other ones like this. This is a fun one to watch. It just doesn't really have. It really doesn't pop out at all. It is kind of like a fun thing to watch, but I do think it's probably one of the more. It's a lesser one, but it's a fun thing to get through. It's if you're into them, it's I would recommend it, but it really doesn't pop out at all. And I do think it's like they're better versions of this. And I do sort of feel like when they really start making more of these, and however many films they made in 1929, it really does feel like they're losing inspiration as it goes on. So I am kind of curious. I might do Flip the Frog next year, to see like what he did after this, because it really feels like the inspiration is gone and they're just kind of churning these out. This doesn't feel as inspired as he previously did, and it feels like the inspiration is getting thin as it goes on. I don't know much about the production process necessarily, but I know when I watch this as a viewer, it feels that way at least. But I do think the animation is still on point for this, and you know, Works is always really good at that. Oh, I got an Utz a chips ad, awesome. Anyway, uh, cool. I grew up with Utz because I'm from Baltimore. Um, anyway, it's a fun little short. I don't think it has anything to do with Christmas, but it was nice to see the merry dwarves and see them frolic and dance around with their long beards. And there's nothing wrong with that. All right, I hope this wasn't too choppy. Jesus. It never looks choppy on my end. It's like YouTube really messes it up. All right, let's try to get out of here semi soon. Let me do questions below. Austin is not here, so I will read his last because he ain't here. Where? Okay, so let's do the Patreon. If Sinram is still, I don't know if he's still here. If he fell asleep or something. I haven't seen him in the chat. That's why I'm sorry. Let's go through. Let's do Sinram first, as he does do this. The time Sims, he does a great job. Said last week the Sundance Film Festival announced the films that they will be showing. Which title is funnier, The Shitheads or The Only Living Pickpocket in New York? Definitely Shitheads. Merzel Torres has sort of two questions, but I'll read them. Does Andy Serkis have the most fascinating career trajectory? His directorial work that got released was Breeze 2017, which had a wheelchair-bound Andrew Garfield spit on a priest because he'd rather put his faith in science over God. Then there's Mowgli, which had high-end VFX technology, regardless of what you think about the final project. Now he did Animal Farm, which is distributed by a company that normally releases Jesus cartoons and has CGI animals with poor hair grooming work, which would make the animators of North go, at least our low-effort hair looked more subtle. How did this happen? Also, does that make Venom Let There Be Carnage Andy Serkis' best movie? No, I'm even more excited for that Gollum movie just for the lulz. Wow. I think you're right about Venom Let There Be Carnage. I don't know. I mean, I think like some people are good at one thing and not good at the other thing. And I think, you know, although he did second unit on The Hobbit and he has been trained by Peter Jackson, a lot of great filmmakers, I don't think it doesn't feel like he has a perspective, a really strong perspective. It feels like he's just a studio guy, and that's sort of what's reflected in what he's doing. But it's also like, I think the problem with the Animal Farm is like you want CG and stuff, and he's not giving that to you whatsoever. So, you know, if you want to do a super chat, even though these lights are, oh, that'd be amazing if they just worked. Okay. Anyway, I will show a Godzilla, I guess, or I'll hold a Godzilla. I don't know. And Nathanophobia said, "What's a guest star you'd like to see on the new Muppet Show?" I did suggest Dolly Parton, but I'm not going to just like be lame about that. One, I actually like wrote down ideas at one point, and I don't have it. Well, a couple of them I thought about was I'll just list off the ones I can remember. It was like, well, this is a while ago. I don't think I put Snoop Dogg now, but I had him. I had some big people like you should definitely do Taylor Swift. I think Emma Stone would be really good. I also think if it's my dream and I'm running it, Joel Hodgson. Let Joel Hodgson work with the Muppets. I don't know what that will bring. I think it'll be amazing. That is the greatest answer ever. I would say Red Man. I would say Method Man. Obviously, I'm going to pick a few rappers. Busta Rhymes. I would also say, Lakeith Stanfield. Glenn Powell, I do think would be good. I know that's like, it seems like movie press people like Glenn Powell and no one else does. I almost would say like Tom Cruise, I think would be okay. I'm trying to think who else. David Cornsweet to follow up the Superman, Christopher Reeves. That's a big classic one. I would also go maybe even like who's like some modern. I don't know if people know Denzel Curry, but I would like him. I don't know if he's popular enough to deserve a Muppets thing or gets the studio would want him to do that. And then God, I had like it was like I think I put like the biggest stars. Like you'd want Ryan Reynolds because people love that guy and people like that. But like Ariana Grande would probably work really well, uh, as well as I think I gave you enough. Right? Is that enough? Is that enough? I think that's a good one. All right. Oh man, William Owens hit me with some big ones there. All right, let's do Austin's question. Where did I put that? Did I? Okay, you go away. Where's Austin? Okay, Austin's question is, who's not here, but I'll read his question because Austin does a lot of stuff and he deserves it. He's at a party. I hope he's having fun. Hey, Jim, what a great show. I hope you're doing well and had a great show. I'm likely not here because I was at a holiday party. My question is, what's your favorite Nickelodeon Christmas special? I was thinking about this because I read it earlier, actually. And I think Christmas in Tattertown might be probably, I think, the best one. I think the SpongeBob one's really high up there. I don't remember any others than those two. Maybe Pete and Pete has one, or but those are like the two I remember now. But I don't remember Ren and Stimpy. Did they have one? Like those are the ones that stick out to me the most. So I'm gonna say right now those are the and those are the ones I have like watched and I know that's not like a me being a trying to reference stuff I reviewed or something. It's just like the ones I can think of. Didn't Hey Arnold do a good one? That sounds like it could be, but yeah, those are the ones I recommend. Anyway, hey Austin's here. How's it going? Did you have fun at the party? I hope you did. All right, all right. Let's vote on shit. So I love that. Okay, Cornbread said, as we established last stream, I Cornbread and apparently Universal Studios. Please, Mr. Gisriel, help. Oh please. How do I sell Soulmate 2? I thought Megan 2 was going to be a big hit. I need to watch Megan 2. I never saw it. I think people thought Megan was to be better, but I think they lost the plot a bit and didn't just bring. I also think it shouldn't have come out in the summer. I'm curious. I'm curious why they held on to that movie until recently. I think it should have been canceled before September. I mean, it was pretty obvious, but whatever. Um, I don't know. It is unfortunate because that could have really been like a Child's Play thing, but they kind of overdid it with the superhero thing, supposedly. But I still haven't seen it. So, William Melman, question: how would you rank these Victor Fleming films? Victor Fleming did have a crazy filmography: Treasure Island, Captain Courageous, The Wizard of Oz, Gone with the Wind, Doctor Strange, Must Try. Okay, this is I haven't seen Captain Courageous, so that's just bottom right there. Wizard of Oz is top. I might go. Gone with the Wind is interesting because it is like not very acceptable, but it is still a good movie about Scarlett O'Hara. So Scarlett O'Hara. So I might do Wizard of Oz. Oh, God. I'd tie Wizard of Oz and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I might do Dr. Jekyll, then Wizard of Oz. No, Wizard of Oz. Sorry, Wizard of Oz 1, Jekyll and Gone with the Wind 2, 3, maybe, and then Treasure Island, I think. I guess. What's your favorite movie crap Discord moment in the past 5 years? It's been active. Oh, that's a good one. A lot of the daily questions. Lester's right next to me here. Sorry. Um, I honestly think it's just like how cool everyone is. I can't think of one. Sorry, this is and this part. My brain is like not at the greatest. To be honest, it's like that. I'm like super proud of the community is the thing I think about the most, and that like when people hear a YouTuber's Discord, they roll their eyes, and that's something I take a lot of pride in you guys because you guys are really cool. But doing the two I think movie watches I've done are moments I would like to do that again at some point this next year. Usually asking, it's always interesting seeing like The question, Zane Powers' wild questions. Oh, man. I can't. There's so many of the daily questions where I'm like, oh, these are really good answers, and like doing seeing everyone's like license playing card. I'm sorry, there's a lot of them, but I would just say that you guys are all chill and cool, and that I'm like proud to be associated with y'all. You know, it's like anyway. I would say that it's a really good community is honestly um the thing that I'm, even though I don't do it, it's Zane Powers, Ryan Walterson, Austin. Zane Powers, Ryan Walterson, Austin, and Cornbread are the ones that do the great job. So, which I don't think I named them earlier, but I'm glad I named them before the end of the show. Zane Powers, do you think Hope the Ellisons will keep refusing to take no for an answer for the W buyout and search for another avenue to acquire them? I want them to continually embarrass themselves. I think they will do that, although they did get control of TikTok officially recently was announced in January. I think they will embarrass themselves. But it seems like the son Ellison is doing this, not his dad. But Al Vasquez says, questions, was Tom Cruise space movie being too expensive with Hollywood reporting the large budget of Deadpool and Wolverine? Do you think Hollywood is going to try and cut back making big budget films? I think they will, but that I don't think that was as accurate as people. I know some of those budgets are huge. That movie did make money still, to my understanding. I don't know if that's like accurate with all the. I don't know. I have a lot of questions about that. I do think Hollywood is going to get cheaper, and Marvel's going to get cheaper, but some of these like the Avengers movies aren't. Avatar movies aren't. Wicked, I don't think is, but that I think they paid all it back in the first one. Some of those aren't going to be are going to stay expensive, but the other ones aren't. Like that horror is as big as it is. Like I think the Five Nights at Freddy's movies each cost like 20 to 30 million. So I think we are already seeing it. But the big movies I don't think are going to come down as much as people think. So Cornbread, I had posted this question in your Zootopia review, but these films seem to have a wild sense of success. One can't quite pin down. What do you think the secret sauce is? I think the animal thing, but I also think that they're really good buddy cop things, and there is sort of a hunger for that. But it works in a sense because me as a parent who grew up with Lethal Weapon can watch it, but my kids can watch as well. And I think people like buddies solving crimes, and I think that kind of works for it. And it's also like a Disney movie. There's no real songs other than Shakira. It sort of works on a lot of levels. It's just a fun animated romp, I don't know. If Tom Cruise won't be the first actor to shoot a movie in space, who will be? Oh, that is a good question, actually. I feel like it's gonna be Robert Downey Jr. or something. Who will be? I bet they're not even born yet, or it's Daniel Craig, or yeah, I'll stay with that. What did you enjoy? This is from the Dubloon Hunter. What did you enjoy about the Taken sequels? I think I only have reviews of the sequels. I didn't really enjoy them. I think 2 was a little better. I enjoyed that they're ending. I enjoyed the editing, but maybe not in a ironically enjoyed the editing. Question: what do you think of the movie Sucker Punch with Zack Snyder? I did a review of it forever ago. Macca Wacko. It's a bit much. Question: how would you rank these Abel Ferrara films? The Driller Killer, King of New York, Bad Lieutenant, Miss 45, Dangerous Games. Okay, Driller Killer I definitely have not seen. King of New York I don't think I've watched all of. I feel the one I like the most is Miss 45, so I'm going to say Miss 45. King of New York. Dangerous Game I don't know super well. I'm not the biggest fan of Bad Lieutenant. I kind of prefer Herzog's one. I'd say it that way. But I really do like Miss 45. I need to review that. So Al Vasquez, is Rob Reiner underappreciated in our current era? He was until this week. I'll say that. Embla T, was Disney's IP pumping really diluting any sort of excitement for these movies, or am I the only one feeling drained seeing those Mandalorian and Toy Story 5 trailers? I haven't seen other. I think they did dilute it a bit. I think they're going too far with it, and they really do need to develop other things. So I hope Hoppers works out for them in general, because I want that to be good. Zane Powers, if people say Rob Reiner died from Trump derangement syndrome, can we start saying Dick Cheney died from Zoran derangement? Okay, that was a good Zane Powers question. Okay, yeah, yes, we can. That was good, man. William Millman. Okay, I might be able. I think I have seen all these. How would you rank these Russ Myers films? Up, Mud Honey, Faster Pussycat, Kill Kill, Beyond the Valley Hills. Super Vixens, I would go. I really do like Faster Pussycat and Beyond the Valley Hills. That's almost too hard, but I think I would go Beyond the Valley Hills, Faster Pussycat. That's a hard thing. Then I would go Mud Honey, then Super Vixens, and then Up. Is that I see some of these? I'm like, it was 3 a.m. and I wasn't super sober with that one, but yeah, I'd say that ranking there. My loose ranking that you may do randomly. Cornbread, hi. Universal Studios again. You think it would be a knee jerk of me to boot Soulmate off the schedule a month before release, since unlike Megan 2, it's sticking its January lane? No, I like that. Oh wait, where are we? Oh, God damn it. Fucking YouTube. All right. You're not. I'm gonna end up accidentally banning someone at some point. You've only done one? I did both Taken sequels. I thought I did. I'm like honestly fairly certain I did Taken 2 and 3. Okay. Since every okay, hold on. Oh, there's a hold on. Where are we? I'm sorry about this. Okay. I might be the only HFR defender, only like the latest Avatar where the water doesn't look amazing, but what other movies can make great use of it, if not everything? What? That's true. I do mind all the technology stuff in it. I'm sort of with you on that, Embloty. Are you the kind of person that assumes when everybody is super famous or wealthy is by default a piece of shit? Yeah, I sort of am actually. I sort of do. Oh, Austin says I would see Jimmy Stewart beat up Mr. Harry Potter. Cheers to you, I guess. Um. Okay, it's very late. Oh, sorry. Zane Power says, why aren't there? Are they getting Hollywood superstar, genius visionary, and sexy renegade Zachary Levi back for the action Tangled movie? Yeah, that'll be an interesting. I'm sure he'll react to that in a total normal way. That's totally normal. Al Vasquez, thoughts on? Wait, did we get to? Oh no, not yet. Thoughts on John Cena's retirement from pro wrestling? He stated about how his body's wearing him down. What future do his career take that isn't just that? I think he can do comedy. I think he's actually got a pretty bright career. Thoughts on the Soulmate? The Megan spin-off about a sexy doll getting postponed due to Megan's disappointment. It's already completed. Oh, if it's completed, then they should really, or just put it on Peacock. I'm actually thinking of switching from Paramount Plus to Peacock. Since every comedian goes to making a horror movie as their debut, what genre do you want them next to do? Like maybe a fucking comedy. How about that? Thoughts on 6-7 being the word of the year? I think that's funny. Thoughts on slot being the word of the year? I mean, that is accurate. Are you excited to have Christian Ronaldo as a guest on Movie Crap? Absolutely. I don't know who that is. We need to bring back the era where we go deeper into IP, like John Carter and the Phantom. Where's my Doc Savage movie? Nice. I'm getting ads from the stream. Is your YouTube giving you residuals for that? I do get some, but it's never clear about. I do get some money from ads. It's not a ton. You showed up for like 3 minutes during Cineram's birthday that year prior, though, so that's something. Good point. Good point. How outraged are you that Nina Lynn has been permanently banned for? I don't know who that is, so I have no reaction. Question for Cians, the elephant, when they play each of the director's story, would you cover your eyes when they show the credits? So sorry, you said you wanted to guess who directed which. Oh yeah, I did say that. No, I probably won't. I thought about that though. Something like that. Like I think it'll get I think I will be able to tell, believe it or not. How underrated was 20? It wasn't. Favorite Rob Reiner cameo in a movie he did not direct, Cineram. Sleepless in Seattle is good. I'm gonna say Sleepless in Seattle. He was pretty good in that. I don't know if it was a cameo, but he's pretty good in that. Zane Powers YouTube recommended me some no view movie review channel that has a negative review of Wicked for Good, saying it was Shrek for lesbians. That sounds amazing. Please post that in Discord. Have you seen the movie Bye Bye Man? I get requests for that. No, I haven't. Is it funny or something? And Nathaniel Foga, favorite Adam Sandler comedy. I don't want. I almost used to say Happy Gilmore, but I rewatched it. It was very bad. So I maybe Click. I guess the only one I watched. Oh, do you want us to click on the ad? See, I can't. Legally, I'm not allowed to comment on that. Actually, I think you're not allowed to. So I didn't even read that. And what to why is the Toy Store blue balling us about the character Louis just now? Keep it going. That's good. All right, I think that's it. That's it. We're done. Wow, this ran really late. I apologize. Anyway, thank you all for being here. I think I will be back on the 23rd, but we'll see. If not, I hope you guys have a great Christmas and a great New Year and a great end of 2025. Thank you all for being here tonight. Sorry we went a little long. I will see you all next time. Subscribe if you would like to and all that stuff. Oh, wait. I didn't do this right. I almost fucked it up. I want to thank everyone who gave a super chat during the show, and those being Blacksy Oxon, William Elman, YouTube's scrolling bar that never works for me, William Elman, Zane Powers, Nathaniel Fogg, William Elman, Zane Powers, William Elman, and Austin. Thank you very much for your super chats. I very much appreciate it. No, I do not condone the. No, don't do it as a joke. Sorry, I shouldn't even mention that, but I do not condone that in any way. Just watch the channel and all that stuff. Anyway, good night to you all. Have a good night. I will see you all next time. Peace out, and maybe I'll see you on the 23rd. We'll see. Have a good night. Subscribe, and see you next time. All right, cool. Bye.